Thank you everybody for joining. My name is Paul Pedersen. I'm the CEO of Nextleaf Solutions. We trade as oils on the CSE. We are Canada's most innovative cannabis extractor. Nextleaf develops technology for extracting and distilling THC and CBD oils for the wholesale market. Nextleaf commercializes its IP and its patent portfolio through three streams: IP licensing, toll processing, cannabis or hemp biomass into refined high purity oils, and through our private label program, which is the wholesale of CBD and THC based oils and finished product. So what I always like to do is start with a summary of our company. You can really understand kind of the key differentiators with Nextleaf versus some of the other cannabis companies that are out there. And I think, first and foremost, we like to say that we see ourselves as a technology company. We have been very much innovative focused over the last 3 years. Currently, we have the second largest cannabis patent portfolio after Canopy Growth. And we have actually the largest portfolio as it relates specifically to extraction. We currently have over 40 issued patents and 60 pending patents. Our business is a simple one. We don't grow cannabis. We don't sell cannabis in a retail environment. We really believe that great companies are built by being focused. We have a low cost oil production platform that is really built around turning oil grade flower, lower grade biomass that can't be sold as a dried cannabis product, turning that into that higher purity oil that then becomes the precursor to all these CBD and THC based products that are now legal federally, provincially, and locally for sale here in Canada, and then obviously globally by being federally legal here in Canada, of course, able to access the global markets. As I mentioned, really a technology focused company. So it's not just on the extraction and purification of cannabinoids, but we have taken a focus on innovation around the delivery of those CBD and THC based molecules. We currently have a patent pending rapid emulsion technology that we think is very, very disruptive to the alcohol beverage industry. I think what makes our team very unique is that we have about 24 people on our team that have a proven track record in the cannabis and hemp industry, over 5 years of experience. Everybody on our management team. Our licensed extraction plant is in Greater Vancouver. Currently hold standard processing and medical sales license, and our CapEx is done. We've built out our plant. We've raised about $20 million to date and have built what we think is the most efficient processing plant for cannabis and hemp anywhere in Canada that's currently licensed. So the opportunity that we see is the oversupply of dried cannabis flower. And if you look at some of these charts, really supports that. What we've seen since Canada legalized cannabis almost 2 years ago is that there's a lot of farmers, there's a lot of greenhouse cultivation. As of April, the government reported over 620 tons of dried cannabis in inventories across the country. Currently, there's about 13 million square feet of indoor greenhouse cultivation, and then another 21 million square feet of outdoor. So this is specific to high THC cannabis, not including hemp, which is huge as well here in Canada, as that's recently been legalized for CBD extraction. For us, we see the opportunity being that there is a lack of efficient processing options for cannabis and hemp farmers, and Nextleaf has developed the patented technology to transform this lower grade flower with limited shelf life into that higher purity distilled oil, removing the impurities and being able to take it to tasteless, odorless level of distillate that can be added to edibles and beverages. What gives us this competitive advantage is our scalability. Our phase 1 extraction plant, this is a simple diagram to explain. really what our differentiator is versus other extractors and processors. And we had built an inline large-scale plant that allows us to process the same amount of biomass into refined oil as 10 large CO2 extractors. That being shown on the right-hand side requires significantly more people, 8 to 10 times the amount of labor required, but also a larger footprint to actually process all this material. So we can process the same as the company on the right that's using CO2 extraction, batch winterization. What we've done is we've actually built a patented custom cold ethanol extraction plant with inline filtration, winterization, solvent recovery, and remediation. What all that means is that 3 people can operate our plant, and what comes out is a refined oil that's already been winterized and filtered. We think this gives us tremendous competitive advantage because we can do it more efficiently, we can do it with less people, we can do it quicker, and more importantly, we can do it in a very small operating footprint. So lower capital expenses to produce that finished oil product. This is actually a picture of the plant. I showed you a diagram a few minutes ago. This is a picture of our custom plant. Again, over 40 patents based on the process and some of the equipment. Nextleaf Labs is the Health Canada licensed entity. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of our publicly traded company, Nextleaf Solutions. It holds the 2 licenses from Health Canada. More importantly, this is where our extraction plant is. It's about 45 minutes east of Vancouver. Can process 600 kilos of biomass into that refined oil a day. We generate revenue through both toll processing and also the bulk supply of distillates. And we have on-site capabilities for formulation. So formulating, taking the distillates, putting it into a finished product, R&D, and then in-house analytical testing. So the first question we often get is, what makes your technology different and unique? And this is a diagram of our patented process. It's a simplistic diagram, but effectively the dried cannabis biomass goes in one side. It goes through the chilled solvent extraction, media treatment, solvent recovery, filtration, and then that refined oil is then moved from the plant. Essentially 3 people operate a plant that dried cannabis goes in one side, refined oil comes out the other side that's 60 to 70% concentrated in CBD or THC. Then that goes to the next room where it's distilled to up to 95%, 98% cannabinoids. Is really based on what the spec of the customer wants. Like, what I mean by that is what level of purity we're able to take it all the way to a very high purity product. What I like to use the analogy is premium vodka versus moonshine, and that's really, I think, what differentiates our process and our technology from what others are doing. Some of the economic advantages, we're very working capital efficient with our asset light IP heavy approach. Our proprietary cannabis refinement technology transforms oil grade cannabis biomass into that high purity distilled oil at an industrial scale, faster processing times, reduced numbers of operators, and again, asset light being that we have a small facility. We don't need a huge footprint, and we think our true scalability allows us economic advantages over other extractors and processors in our market. So how we make money, we process cannabis and hemp biomass into this purified oil through fee for service or revenue share. Revenue share is when we actually sell the finished product. We aren't buying the biomass, so very working capital friendly. We are splitting the revenue of the oil with our cultivation partner. We like that model a lot. It allows us to really hedge against the commodity risk. For us, at the end of the day, we really believe in our technology and making sure that we structure our commercial arrangements in a way that are very working capital friendly. We also wholesale cannabis oils and cannabinoid-based ingredients through our private label program. Again, this is for customers that are in consumer packaged goods that want, standardized ingredient that's easy to dose, formulate, and meets all the regulatory requirements in Canada. And we can take that all the way to a distillate or put it into a more versatile rapid emulsion form. Moving along, maybe just talk about some of the commercial contracts, some of our current partners, a picture of a cannabis greenhouse, as mentioned. There's a lot of dried cannabis out there right now in Canada, and we think it's a big advantage that we only do one part of the supply chain. We focus on the extraction. We don't do any cultivation, and we work with partners that grow cannabis and hemp economically and allow us to have that low cost advantage when you're dealing with the finished oil. Currently have a commercial extraction contract with a 10-acre greenhouse grower to process 15 tons of cannabis biomass. We also have an extraction agreement with another producer for 10 tons. That 15-ton agreement, when we signed it, represented a potential revenue for Nextleaf of about 16 million. Expect to recognize the revenue and ultimately the cash flow on these deals over the balance of the year. We have a partnership for oil supply of a BC-based multi-site licensed producer that's focused on taking those finished products into market. And we think it's an advantage for us to stay lean and really focus on our competitive advantage, and that is being able to take dried cannabis and turn it into an oil format very economically and really stay out of the other parts of the supply chain to really work with good partners. So I think our partners are a critical part of what we do, and they're all privately owned businesses, which we actually think is a big benefit. So moving along, and the core of our value is our patent portfolio. We had global aspirations as a business. We currently only operate in Canada. We love Canada when it comes to cannabis because it's legal on every level and allows us to export to the over 40 countries where medical cannabis is legal. But more importantly, I think it sets us up well, globally. We think that taking an asset-light, IP-heavy approach has allowed us to have quite a global footprint. So if you look at this slide, we've got issued patents in Canada, United States, Colombia, South Africa, all the way across Europe, in Asia, in Australia, and New Zealand. And that represents our over 40 issued patents. We still have 60 pending patents outstanding. And why that's significant is that currently we have a 100% issued patent to success rate. So we've never had a pending patent reviewed by a patent office and not issued. Why we think that IP is very, very important in the cannabis industry is that if you look at who's getting the patents other than Nextleaf, you see that that 7 of the top 10 cannabis patent holders are actually multinational pharmaceutical companies: Pfizer, GW Pharma, Merck. We really see this as a patents arms race. And as I mentioned, Nextleaf actually has more cannabis patents than everybody when it comes to cannabis extraction related patents. Looking forward, for us, it's also about not just the extraction and distillation of cannabinoids and getting to that standardized molecule, but taking that and putting it into a form that's a delivery technology. Recently got patents issued around THCO acetate. So it's the acetylation of cannabinoids. I think it's very, very significant. I think when you look at how drugs are synthesized, we actually think that this might be one of our most meaningful patents that was recently issued in the United States and in Canada. The patent covers a process for acetylating delta-9 THC, maintaining the integrity of the molecule and the ability to deliver drugs precisely to targeted areas of the body. So THC acetate is actually a derivatized version of THC, makes it very, very unique. We expect there to be opportunities to commercialize this patent through IP licensing to pharmaceutical-based companies, as well as producing IP-protected cannabis products. We think that this metabolic prodrug has very unique medicinal benefits associated with efficacy, but also drug delivery, and excited to continue to develop commercial opportunities around this patent. Another very significant proprietary technology that we own is our rapid emulsion technology by oils. It's an efficient and intelligent way to create infused products through a versatile and cost-effective ingredient. So this is a patent pending technology. It involves micro and nano emulsifications, which are completely homogeneous once dispersed into beverages or edibles. The biggest challenge with the beverage or the edible consumption method is the onset time. Sometimes it takes consumers an hour and a half to feel the effects. This technology actually allows for a rapid onset time. So the consumer is feeling the desired outcome within 10 to 20 minutes, and also faster offset as well. It's a very unique chemical structure. It provides exceptional stability when formulated into that beverage, into that infused product. We think this is very significant when you look at cannabis and you see where cannabis is going. It's moving away from smoking a joint and moving into consumer packaged goods. You've seen alcohol, tobacco come into the industry. Constellation Brands obviously has invested heavily into the segment. We would put our technology against anybody else. And now recently just actually announced our plans to commercialize our rapid onset technology. So just looking at
maybe you like to wrap up if you want to answer a few questions. So
perfect, guys. I'll just quickly highlight our future focus. For the balance of 2020, it's all about getting to full utilization of our plant, driving towards cash flow positive, continuing to innovate, filling our pipeline with patents and IP. And really driving what we see as a very low cost model of transforming this oversupply of biomass into high purity oil. And with that, I know we're tight for time, so would love to open it up to any questions around Nextleaf, around our technology and our distillation.
Thank you, Paul. So I'd like to go to the first question from Irene. He's asking if you can make 99.5% CBD isolates.
We don't make isolate. We have a different technology. Our technology is around distillation. And we think that distillation yields a more valuable product that's more versatile. It's a broad spectrum cannabinoid versus an isolated cannabinoid. So there's a lot of research around the entourage effects of the other cannabinoids of what's in the plant. So we can take it to a 98, 99% distillate, but a little bit of a different finished product than an isolate.
Sure. Another from Franklin asking you if you will be working or will you be working with the big players like Canopy Growth or Aurora, those guys?
We've got great relationships at all those companies mentioned, and just actually got off the phone with one of them a little bit earlier. And I think what we see across the board is that the big players that have gone very asset heavy are now looking for partners to allow them to be more efficient in transforming a lot of biomass that is out there. There's been billions and billions that have gone into building large scale cultivation, and great opportunity. So we're very excited on some partnerships that we're going to be announcing over the next coming months with some larger players in this space.
That sounds very good. Maybe I can ask you the last question from the Chinese feed here from Jen Ting, who's asking if your lab currently, are you running at a full capacity?
We are running currently one shift, and so we can actually increase our capacity throughput. Our plant has been built to process about 600 kilos a day. We're about half that right now. We're the right capacity for where the industry is. We are, what you'll learn about us, we're in this business for the next 20 years. And we're here to build a business model to be around long enough to make our patents count. And we think that, you know, this industry is only getting started with, especially the US, soon to legalize cannabis. We expect to see a lot more larger players, tobacco, alcohol, pharma. And we think, you know, a company like Nextleaf that's been a first mover in IP, you know, tremendous opportunity to continue to develop and then obviously monetize and protect that IP.
Thank you, Paul, for your knowledge and answering all the questions. Like learn that you're long-term. So I'll let you go. Well, thank you for your time again.
Thank you, everybody. And feel free to follow us on social media, reach out with any questions, and connect with us, and be happy to answer any questions offline. Thank you, everybody.